Yeah, and of course, the other side here, Team Liquid, in their previous match, they played a lot of different things. That was against Nightmare. Now, of course, the big question is how much of that was just in response to Nightmare throwing different comms at them, which were a little bit more unusual, or do they just like to switch it up on each and every single map and kind of, you know, keep us guessing? What look did you like the most from them? Because we literally saw everything. D.Va, Sigma, Winston, Maga, like you name it. Backline as well, lots of flexibility. We saw Ana Lucio, Zen Ana, Batiste Zen, Kiri Lucio. I don't think there was anything we didn't see, Jake.
Yeah, I do think Team Liquid is maybe the more likely team to switch it up, but I don't think that, you know, the flexibility is a huge advantage for either team. I mean, both of these teams are super stacked. They can both play every comp. I expect to see a lot of Maga because I think both of these teams are, you know, just filled with veteran players who understand, like, as much as you know, as Nightmare has this like awesome style, it's super fun to watch. In the end, it's very risky to be pulling those off. Like, you can just get insanely good at a dominant strategy, and it's not just that you play the strategy and you're good at the heroes, but yet your team play, your execution is flawless. You know every ult rotation, you know where to fight on every position and every map. I mean, you really can get it dialed, and that's what a lot of these veteran players are so good at, is that they just reach such a level as a team where these comps feel unbeatable against them. I think I'd give SSG a little edge in the pure Maga comp, so maybe that puts some pressure on Team Liquid to bring out the ball dive that was pretty successful for them across the season. At the same time, I don't think that Liquid is going to shy away from that mirror. I think if they're going to win this series, they're going to need to be able to win the mirror on at least a few maps.
Absolutely. Let's see if Space Station Gaming can stay on top and move on to the grand final. We find out in just a little bit. And for all the action, I'm going to send it over to Mitch and Matt.
Thank you very much, Zoe. That's right. A lot on the line in this game. Minimum $20,000 for the winning team. And of course, a spot at our Champions Clash, Matt. Again, the highest stakes game that we've had all season. And I know Space Station Liquid both would love that good seeding, but the automatic qualification, I don't have to worry too much about. That finals match will be important too.
These are also the two teams we expected to see in this match in North America. Maybe not in the same fashion though, right? Maybe everybody thought that like Team Liquid would come in like a top dog, right? 6-1 or 7-0, something along those lines, and then everybody else playing catch up. But SSG has been fantastic throughout the entire first stage. The damage dealer line is tremendous. So we'll see if Team Liquid can take them down.
And again, something that we were a little suspect on for Liquid was, you know, they were very flexible, but often, in fact, it was playing a roulette of different tank heroes in that game against Nightmare. See if they can really stick to a style that they like. You see here the Genji and Kiriko, respectively, are banned, so that's a sugar-free target. And of course, the Kiri taken away. So Ana Brig here for Liquid in the ball comp. Space Station will be on the Ana Lucio dive.
It's going to put a lot of pressure on the CJ, right? We've seen CJ have a really good stage, I know, up there with like UV and RuPaul, one of the best honest in the league here in North America. But how do you deal with this ball? This composition for Team Liquid has been really strong. You know, when the ball has been in play, it's kind of Infected's go-to. Can you kind of circumvent this ball for SSG? That's what we see a lot of teams do, right? You know, maybe you're able to deal with this ball and then just kind of move in and attack that back line.
I mean, the central pillar on this map means that Infected can swing around that and constantly get knocks, but big damage bio on Infected, and he will be chased down. That's the combo you need to deal with the ball. Ana, all on her own, can essentially give you what you need to answer that very threatening enemy tank player. Great sticky bomb connection though on Knife, and that's the difference when you're off ping, folks. Bionade also helping there to some degree. In Space Station though, they do take the first flip, and Knife is caught dangling out in the open.
You're gonna have to wait for him to come back off a spawn, but I know some nice bios there from RuPaul. You get a 2-player bio. It was on the Kellen and CJ early, and then they get the one onto Seeker there. So 3 players with a bio. They're only able to kind of get that 1 kill on a Seeker, but you had already lost Infected, so the point's kind of given up at that point.
Now Liquid with this Wrecking Ball comp have to find a way back in. That is easier said than done. Much better at stalling and disrupting once you have point control. Knife a little low. RuPaul obviously playing that relatively safe position out by the coast, as there's no chance of a ball knocking him off. That's Kellen on a Winston. However, this is still an issue. Now Winston coming in, Kellen cycling into a primal here and giving Space Station a lot more supremacy over the map itself. Another dive to the backline here, and Kellen can cycle into a primal should he want to disrupt further. There's so much still in reserve here for Space Station. They've not been forced to dig into, but CJ goes down early. Great dive there from Infected. Pile drive connects, but Sugar-Free, oh buddy, he's made short work of the backline on his own, and SSG still in control of the point now with a primal to work with. Yeah, they're going to hold on a little longer.
Sick work there from Sugar-Free. And Kellen's first kind of jump in there with that nano, right, on that right-hand side. It kind of forces everybody back to the choke. It opens up some flanking routes there for Sugar-Free. And Sugar-Free able to get in there. Does a nice job actually playing inside of Kellen's Winston bubble, safely taking out RuPaul. And then the stick onto Vega is pretty nuts.
77 and counting. Liquid with the rally pulse bomb. Feel like Knife really has to make a big impact on that one. So far, though, just into the backline, and instantly it's 150 charge rail and a headshot, which is overkill for Seeker. The guy don't miss, and what an important target to take out of the game. The Tracer with the pulse bomb threatening to harass and disrupt the backline. The minefield there largely overlooked by Space Station as their attention is on stuffing Team Liquid back to whence they came. Infected will be booped away from the point, but we'll still get that overtime now. A chance to swing through, and God, that linked up beautifully. CJ was inside a disrupt shot, got brought down. Knife, though, is yet again dead as Tree steps up to the plate with an overclock of their own and is able to account for Kellen. They've got to respect Seeker, but Liquid get the flip off Tree's threat being generated on the point.
Oh, Sugar-Free tries to make a play there with the pulse bomb towards the end as well. Maybe tries to bring the team back into it as you had Seeker and Bliss alive, but Tree gets there with his overclock. That's enough to give them the point flip. But TL needs to be perfect from here on out. It'll be probably a nano boost here from CJ onto Kellen yet again, right? They got pretty good value out of it the last time. Fully expect to see them redo it this next one. It's a nice sleep there by CJ onto Infected. You also had Knife there working with him and not able to pick up the kill on the Ana.
And Knife recalled pretty early, I think, after that sleep dart came down, so might have actually been able to stick around and do some more damage. Tree's been winning in the Sojourn battle over the last couple of fights, but a Nano Winston might be just what the doctor ordered. Sleep, though, catches on the kill, and he's instantly awoken by Tree, throws the disruptor shot in and cleans off the Winston. 63% and counting. RuPaul and Vega looking to get back into the fight here, as Liquid have maintained control.
And that seems way too over-aggressive there from Seeker. Like when we were on board with CJ, Seeker just slides up at critical HP over by the staircase. I think maybe was trying to challenge Tree, but Tree's not going to miss in that type of scenario. He was already extremely weak, and you ended up burning the Nano in that fight. So huge win there for Team Liquid.
Now the primal here for Kellen. Wants control of the point, though, before he wants to start thinking about disrupting, stalling. Right now wants to tuck in here and put that capture pressure on. It's definitely working. Infected's forced to step up here. Slept out in the open, bio and dealt with. And here's a big advantage now for Space Station to Snowball. Tree has to step up now and find some big damage, but a disruptor shot forces Liquid away from the point. And overtime likely here to expire without Liquid having a chance to fully fight for it yet again. And it all came down to a backline that knew exactly how to handle Infected when he came on in. Primal's going to knock the ball back, and that'll be the first round of the ball.
The sleep there from CJ is great, and then also the follow-up to be able to kill Infected, because he's just trying to roll around, put down a little bit more damage, because he's at like 99 towards a minefield, right? Would have just dropped that onto the point. No sound barrier. That's what they used to fight through the last minefield with Bliss's sound barrier, so you wouldn't have had that in the fight. As that kill there onto Infected is huge. I think that's a great sign for SSG, though, right? To be to see that even if they're running that ball composition, you can still play some Winston and fight on through it.
Very close round. And I do think that there's got to be considerations about whether the ball is the option when CJ and Bliss have such good control and such good composure when Infected comes knocking. To switch over to the Malka comp here, RuPaul switching over to the Juno to facilitate that a little bit more, especially with those big orbital rays. Let's get to work.
But there is no Kiri, right? So there's no cleanse here for this Maga. So obviously the Winston had a little bit of a deficit here in terms of just being able to stay alive. Secret's just trying to play from main. It's picked off there. But no cleanse, so CJ could be really impactful with these bios. That's going to be one onto Infected. He's going to have to back up.
Yep, I mean, Liquid want to cap the point, but they are forced to give up that high ground because their Malga is bioed. They can't protect him. All the King's horses and all the King's men.
Bro.
It's Sugar Brun, baby, and he's run over another backline, bro. You won't see that in the headlines because it happens every second of every day.
I mean, just filthy work there from Sugar Free. I think that's actually a sleep that CJ hits onto RuPaul there as, yep, they're going to bring in the Brig because Sugar Free just too good in the backline. I mean, Knife starts off on the Echo straight away. You can't play it when Sugar Free is playing Tracer. I mean, he's that good. Just kind of deals with the Echo straight away, then takes out the backline as just as dominant as ever.
I don't know, man. The atmosphere from Space Station seems very different than what we saw in week 1. You know, labeled, I think, lazily as a for fun team just because they wanted, you know, a vibe that they really enjoyed. Sugar Free wanted to play with Seeker, etc. Coach like Hunter, I guess, you don't take them seriously from the outset. But Hunter did promise that when push came to shove, when playoffs came in, they'd be pulling out all the stops. So far, we have not been disappointed, but much more game to play. Sugar Free with a pulse. Don't do it to him. Knife here forced off the map entirely. Bliss on the chase. The 2v1.
He's bullying Knife at this point. I mean,
yep. All right, Young Gun hasn't had much to do here. Slide away here from Tree, desperately trying to get away from Licking Tendrils or the Tesla cannon, but Kellen will run them down as well. 46 and counting. Quick flip there on the point, but Space Station back in the driver's seat.
Well, they're going to stagger Vega here as well. Yep. Yeah, they're going to stagger Vega. So, yep, the bags are out there from Kellen as he will move back there to the joke as... dude, this would be a bad loss from Liquid from the stance that, like, you tried the ball, it didn't work, and then you lose playing the Malga. Although the Curie is gone, right, to cleanse that Malga, you play the Malga and you end up losing into the Winston. That would be a quite brutal scenario for map number 1.
It's just not really been working out for Liquid. Space Station showing us. We thought it was audacious from Nightmare to run it. You'd suggest even more so against a team like Liquid, and yet here we are. Space Station having a pretty chill time of things.
That's the rally up.
Okay. Primarily for Kellen. Jump away from the rally, more than happy to draw that out of Vega. There's still a lot in reserve though for Liquid. Cage fight as well might be an option. Oh, the bio! Oh, it's a disaster! They've lost Vega. Okay, you'd already used the rally in fairness. Now an orbital ray comes down from RuPaul. That could have been so much worse. Liquid, though, are able to recover, mostly on sheer weight of ultimates, Matt. But it doesn't matter. They're still in the map.
I like the idea though from SSG. Like if you would have just kind of sat around by the point, right, that cage fight is eventually going to come through, and like we saw in the previous series, like you can't really keep that Winston alive through the cage. So maybe if you actually be proactive with the sound barrier, get like a bio, then you can finish like a player or two. Maybe you just have like a player advantage when the cage comes through, and you're able to just kind of like live on through it. It doesn't exactly work, but they're going to have a nano here for a kill.
CJ here. Won't be able to keep eyes on Kellen this whole time if he dives past the point, so Kellen has to be careful. Dives on Tree. Forced back. Overclock here for Tree. 150 rails hitting a little different. Sugar Free brought down by the charge of Infected, but Knife is gone down. The Malga is missing. Liquid pushed off the point, and overtime won't last long enough for Tree to get back there. A dominant take for Space Station. Playing Winston into the Malga and not batting an eyelid.
Oh, but the Curie is banned, right? So we talked a little bit about that with the Curie ban. That's definitely an impact, but yeah, they play it into, they play the Winston into the Malga, and they do not look back. I know some sick bios there from CJ, but look, if you're gonna have like Sugar Free play like that and not really get that response from Knife, this might be a quick one. I mean, that was really well played from SSG.
Yeah, I mean, blown away. You're right. The bio difference against the Malga is crucial. CJ hitting those a lot of the time. But Sugar Free basically disrespecting, desecrating the backline of Team Liquid basically every time there's a fight. Audaciously running into 3 people quite happily and still coming out with 1 to 2 kills on every occasion. You notice that like Bliss is teaming up a lot with Sugar Free. Like that Lucio, a Tracer combo. It blinks plus speed plus an extra player for damage. Boops if Tracer does get pressured down. It's really effective.
Yeah, not even really kind of having Bliss protect CJ in the backline, right? Using him with him and Sugar Free in combination to kind of roam around the map. This was huge, right? That's where Infected was going to get over towards that minefield. This is a 6 sleep off the start. I mean, he had already killed Knife. Yeah, at that point.
It's just far deeper than your average Tracer is going to go there. Sugar Free just knows exactly how much rope he has to play with there. Oh, we did that. Okay.
Yeah. No, the bags came out. Map number one.
When Sugar Bron and C Curry are out there, you know, I mean, they're going to warm up.
Yeah, they're rubbing off on the rest of the team. You know, they're the vibe. And look, you mentioned it, and I think it's kind of funny where it's like, oh well, this team's not serious, like or whatever. Like honestly, like just because you practice like a ton and you tell people you practice a ton doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna have like great results, right? Like most teams who can keep a nice balance, right, where players can actually be happy and also kind of get quality scrim time, not just scrimming to scrim, like just quality scrims. Those teams do perfectly fine. So just because you want to play a little bit more, I guess, of your Sugar Free and Seeker, like, hey, maybe we don't want to do, you know, as many blocks as like a team like Team Liquid every week. We just want to do quality blocks, and we have the talent. They know they're going to be fine. Like, you're going to be okay.
Yeah, and if you don't want to triple block scrims all day long, but still want to improve with the game, it's a great way to do that. Make sure you join the closed beta waitlist for our OW2 pugs on Faceit by visiting fce.gg/play ranked pugs beta. Yeah. I know it's a mouthful, but that's how you can head over there to check it out. This weekend, you can sign up for a chance to win 1,000 OW2 coins. And again, the Faceit Pro League is running right now. It's been running for a couple of weeks. We had players invited, handpicked, selected by the Shadow Council over at Faceit. But these Faceit pugs are your chance to qualify and graduate up into that league to get onto the leaderboard to compete for that weekly cash, Matt. So well worth, of course.
And I tell you what,
getting involved and testing your mettle.
You guys here gotta sign up. I saw a thread on the regular Overwatch subreddit that they became aware of this, and somebody said they had a great opportunity, a great time playing. So they're gonna start flooding in. But you people here on this channel, the Esports channel, you need to get in there and sign up now, so you get in before them.
So we're not just talking to the Overwatch subreddit anymore. This isn't Disney Plus, guys. This is
we're talking to all of you
core
now.
Audience.
Yeah.
Esporters only. Don't tell the others. Head out there as well. Again, so let's have a look at the leaderboard, see where it's at right now. Faceit_OW on X is where you can follow the main account. It's your boy, Luke Mino here. Captain of the SS Ajax at the top with 384 points. So
I'm sitting at like 199 right now, so I'm a little bit below.
I mean, I'm at like 202. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm right below the cutoff here. But dude, look at me now. I mean, probably pretty sick. Sugar Free rocking that Bastion. Kind of sitting up there, third? I mean, hey, there's a little bit of a gap. I mean, dude, Luke Amino, he's on his grind, my lord.
Yeah, he is. He's putting in the work. Big shout out to my boy Hawky Boy, who's obviously still in the mix there at 4th place. So check it out; it's well worth it. I do think it's a worthwhile goal to make your way in there, and also a great way to sort of test yourself alongside players and against players of similar skill level. Please go check it out.
Yeah, no, awesome tool. Big thumbs up from us. It's been a ton of fun watching some of the streams as well. Expect it only to grow, get better.
Yeah. So that is opening pretty soon. You can follow them over on X. We're going to talk more about it, I think, in the coming days, but it's worth keeping an eye on. This series, though, I tell you what, is one you don't want to be missing either. We have a Diva ban here for SSG, and now obviously that's not our first ban, so it's not protect, not protecting another tank. They are specifically targeting.
So sometimes they would play like a Diva here potentially, like for infected, right? But I think we've also seen TL run like a Risa based compositions here on Sorvasa. The Tracer ban. The Tracer ban is quite interesting because I actually think that for Team Liquid, right, the biggest issue was the Tracer early on. I mean, Sugar Free just kind of going crazy on the hero. So force him potentially off of it. That would probably like what you're looking at Echo. Are you looking at Genji potentially here? For Sugar Free, some potential options here is he'll come out on a Genji here, so it'll be TL running it back with the ball yet again. They're gonna try it again.
Neither the ball nor Malgacom's worked against SSG's dive. This is good old-fashioned, honest Winston dive with the Ana Lucio Genji. Let's see if they can make it happen on a different map, but again, the context, I feel like the overarching context of this matchup remains the same. Seeker deadly on the Sojourn. Bio's coming in left, right, and center. RuPaul had to go out on CJ, but Infected is now into the back line, sleeping it off.
They need that kill on the CJ. Yeah, I mean, you're all in on it at that point. So that's a Bio that connects on the CJ there. Dude, a nice jump trying to keep him up for a little bit. Bliss there, Seeker there trying to help him out as well. But you end up losing the Ana, then things kind of fall apart after that, right? For both teams, the Ana, really the only source of healing. I know Lucio obviously can provide a little bit of healing, but obviously use more for speed here in this scenario.
Way more relevant later in the game when you have that sort of secondary perk that gives you a much bigger radius for your amp it up. Then, like, it's honestly kind of reasonable. There, though, is a very exposed backline of Space Station Gaming. And Infected drops down like Shelob. Big bounce on Seeker, they are going to be healed up. But again, Infected knows where to go to dig out that backline. For now, it's a matter of contesting the point here, forcing Kellen away, who's not in the best line of sight position for his healing. So you can see awkwardly, SSG are trying to heal Kellen from outside of this room. And it hasn't worked out that well.
And this was looking much better here for Team Liquid. You also don't have the Tracer there because Tracer's actually a really good counter to Echo, right? We saw a few times in the first map where Sugar Free was actually able to take out Knife early on, and then we see Knife go from Echo over to the Tracer to match. So Sugar Free actually brings in a Cassidy here. So another potential slow here for the ball.
Okay, Seeker here. Knows he's got his work cut out for him, but gets a Nano to go to work with. The Electric Cowboy rides once more. Knife also getting that, but able to stay alive long enough to really have impact. Didn't also choose to duplicate, interestingly enough, as SSG were able to flip the point back amidst the action. Infected has to roll sheepishly away.
Yeah, so you do get a flip here from SSG, which is massive, but Team Liquid's going to be able to come back here with like their dupe, their sound barrier. I mean, a lot for them to be able to take this first point. Is Seeker with the Cassidy, right? You lose out on some of the long-range capabilities that like a Sojourn would have, and some of the mobility, but you're a little bit harder for the ball to dive, and then also you're now kind of relying on Sugar Free to put pressure onto Tree.
Tree's looking to break this one open. Blade coming in though. Sugar Free forced into deflect as the sound barrier comes down, effectively nullifying this Genji. And maybe that Tracer Band hits a little bit harder for SSG than we otherwise thought. Sugar Free here on the Genji, still obviously great pick for him. And that's a blade that's much easier to shut down by a beat than perhaps Tracer is.
You want to continue to fight this though.
Nice been forced out on the periphery here, a little awkward. Not able to get back in. SSG with a 4 versus 4. Infected was sleeping previously, which means obviously there is still Ana active for both sides. RuPaul's going to be forced away by this Winston bubble. Dangerously lost Vega as a result. RuPaul's going to have instant impact now. He has to get back into the game, and he blows Seeker up, and oh, buddy! The Nano one knife, he died just before it could be conferred. And it's just a game of inches, the one that Liquid lose, and Space Station will have this first checkpoint.
And I feel like Team Liquid, even though they end up losing this first flashpoint, it felt like they were in control like most of the time. SSG just kind of getting their percentage in kind of junk fight scenarios, and they're still able to come out on top. So things have not worked out for Team Liquid so far in this series, as SSG will be coming in here with a Nano potentially for Kellen. I mean, or you can Nano Sugar Free, right? You can Nano the Genji, send him into the backline, potentially end up build up towards another blade.
Kellen bioed but can shelter in the bubble for now. Shit, that is such a deflator. It's such a flattener for Liquid to lose that previous point. Here is Nano Kellen coming forward now, of course. CJ to benefit from that as well.
Look at him just split the supports off. Like, just, yeah, the amount of space created, right? Forces RuPaul and Vega all the way back. Infected can't play as aggressive there, and obviously neither can Tree or Knife. It just creates so much space, allows them to take the point.
Yeah, but okay, essentially at the point, but they kind of would like to win a fight. Guarantee themselves more than maybe 25% here, but this is looking a little ugly. Seeker just caught out by Infected. The dive here from Kellen is to his death, as Tree's able to duck into the bubble briefly and bring him down. And now Liquid have been able to build up towards 2 support ultimates that are bound to extend their time on the point.
Yeah, you see, you do end up kind of battling back here for TL, where you know, you get Infected on the corners, he pile drives. Yeah, he probably did, like you mentioned, wanted to actually get like a kill, you know, win a fight there for SSG. You could have kind of, you know, kept up the pace, the tempo, right, played with the blade over there on the corner, not allow Vega to build up towards a beat. But now for Team Liquid, you have everything to work with here for this next fight. This is one that they most certainly should not lose. They should get very close here. They will end up taking the lead. Knocks RuPaul off the side.
RuPaul off the map, that's not great. Beat here forced out of Vega. It's going to be trade of honors. Could have been ugly, but Liquid recover very well from a kill that probably shouldn't have happened. Primer from Kellen was beautiful. Here's a blade from Sugar Free. No support ultimates to mess this one up. Oh, buddy. The implications of that Winston kill might still be echoing through the goat. There is a health pack there. I think Sugar Free. I talked about game inches. It was a matter of seconds there, I think, with that mini not spawning up.
Yeah, it either didn't spawn or actually somebody else got it. Potentially Kellen got it. As you're going to be able to get Seeker in position here for a Deadeye. Looks like he's wrapping around by the stairs.
Not quick enough, though, to get rid of Knife. Oh, risky. Okay, dupe up the Cassidy. Roll forward, hit the grenade. We are Gucci, folks. Team Liquid here should have themselves a flashpoint now. At the space station. Make it a little bit scary.
Yeah, it should be really Team Liquid up 2-0, right? I mean, they've been that good here on this map on Suravasa. Really, SSG's been able to battle around this ball comp, but has not looked pretty. Is RuPaul setting up for a sick bio nade here. Just gonna kind of get one on the flank. Oh, that is... I mean, nothing you could do there.
No doubt about it. Yeah, Seeker and CJ. Not walking away from that one, of course. That perk, man, that makes your power drivers even more easy to maneuver and hit a little bit harder. Is pretty darn scary, and for many Wrecking Ball players, the reason you want to pick him. So Vega will be able to get this cap.
Yeah, but with like the double bio there, essentially, right? Just kind of connecting onto both players. I mean, that is a really nice setup there by RuPaul and Co to be able to take that point first.
Nano Winston probably is the game plan here without Blade on deck. Kellen's taking a crap ton of poke damage and forced inside the bubble. No Curie to cleanse that off. Knife definitely causing problems for Sugar Free. They're forced to dash away from the focusing beams. Kellen, for a time, considered taking this high ground control. He wants to push the Echo away, and it seems to have worked for now. And that is a Seeker.
Yeah.
Big disengage for Liquid, but they still lose Vega. That was a right click from Kellen, just zapping the last bit of that Lucio's health.
So SSG really behind, not much there, Mitch. Comes back in and ends up flipping the point, right? I mean, it's just a Nano on a Seeker. He kind of rolls up. It's now infected. Looks like they're trying to set something up potentially, right? With the minefield, you have RuPaul with a Nano here as well. As infected, will get a swing here. Gonna kind of just trigger. I know they can test is Seeker. Oh, not able to make it alive. He actually tried to slide up to the high ground and slid right in a knife.
Big for Knife there, big connection. RuPaul overhit a fat bio at pretty close range here. So Space Station off that last fight, get themselves a pretty respectable total, but Liquid being the first point to have capped, now we're going to cycle back around to this sound barrier. And a tree overclock doesn't sound too bad either. Sugar Free, to try and take this point, is going to have to go for a nanoless blade, which in fairness, the nano's often been going over to Seeker or someone else, so Sugar Free has to make do. But the beat is a problem. It has to be forced out, drawn out in some way, shape, or form, and without a blade, that might be hard to do, especially if you don't have any teammates to put pressure down.
I mean, he's going to use the blade here, but this is exclusively just to get the beat out, right? So they don't have beat for the first fight of the next flashpoint, because this is going to be Team Liquid taking the second flashpoint here, their second flashpoint, and giving themselves an opportunity move to flashpoint game here as we move on to the next one. As Bliss now over to the Brig. Lucio just kind of back and forth. Now over to the Brig here, trying to support CJ Seeker maybe a little bit better. But I know that this ball comp's been difficult for them to stop now. Nice bio there from RuPaul.
Up again. We've seen that one before. Beautifully done. Liquid now really starting to get into a bit of a rhythm. Knife maybe just biting off a little bit more than he could chew there, but Space Station, they're still a little bit nervous about trying to go forward. They've only got Brig heals right now until CJ rejoins them.
And I gotta wonder, like, is this just kind of having the Tracer out, right? The Tracer making that much of an impact, right? Where it's a lot easier to navigate towards that back line than, let's say, the Genji? Or is this just more systematic adjustments here from Team Liquid on top of that?
Oh my goodness. Knife there. Nano coming forward. Seeker's able to deal with that pretty comfortably. RuPaul at least is able to, benefit from the vestiges of that, but Tree is now out of the picture. Seeker comes alive. A big railgun moment there. An overclock that definitely shifts the balance of power on this, what could be last flashpoint now. The Liquid are forced to drag themselves off of this, and SSG, win or lose the next fight, will be at about 60 or so percent.
Yeah, I think Knife went over to the Pharah because of the Brig, right? There's no way for Brig to like interact with the Pharah, and Pharah just can put down a little bit more damage than the Echo in a shorter period of time. But now going right back to the Echo. The Echo was looking quite good. This is going to be a minefield here, trying to open things up. Big bio connection though.
Yeah, by connection couldn't be followed up on because of the density of mines on the point. Space Station also lose CJ pretty darn quickly, and Tree didn't even have to make an overclock in this fight. It was a simple rail that accounted for the Ana. And once again, SSG had to deal with this constant long-range Bionade pile driver pressure That threatens to cut them down to 4 before the fight can begin.
But SSG gets themselves up to 72%, right? So 72% plus both support ults feels like you're in a good spot, right? The rally's going to be pretty strong here, obviously to keep everybody alive, but then the bash on a potentially infected. As he comes through, like the combination of like Groggy, Bash, you know, you're starting to get to a spot where the sleeps and everything are going to really add up onto Infected, trying to keep him up.
Helen needs healing so badly. Rally abused by Bliss. They run forward to try and keep the Winston in the fight. So SSG use both their support ults now, but they're not fighting for the point just yet. They still need to dig a little deeper. Sugar-Free with the blade. Might be a sip ahead and go to business for Sugar-Bron in a moment. Infected is down low to the overclock, and here comes Space Station. This might be able to even up the game. Knife gets bowled over in the end by a whip shot. And all of SSG back in control, with Sugar-Free's Dragon Blade still being held in reserve.
And that's the beat used there by Vega, right? When there's no blade on the other side, right? They've been kind of like exclusively saving it for the blade, that time using it to try and put the map away. Let's see if they go back and get another contest here. Infected playing around the corner. He will get a touch. They want to try and make this one go yet again, as that's going to be Tree falling at the hands of the blade. It's a dupe as well.
Oh, could not be any worse. That is devastating. RuPaul dies instantly, off rip, essentially. Knife dupes the Ana, so there can be a healer. They're put to sleep. Tree is blown up, and SSG, that is a brutal blow to strike here now. It's going to take us to a decider flashpoint.
Dude, this would be an extremely impressive map for SSG to win, because it feels like everything has kind of gone right for Team Liquid in terms of how they would want to play, and everything going, for the first 2 flashpoints. Now it is definitely in the realm of possibility. Kellen's somehow still alive in here.
RuPaul can't do more. He cannot do more from that position. He's just watching his teammates in front of him. He's healing him desperately. It's just not enough. Sugar-Free, though, did get done in by the Wrecking Ball, and there's a minefield on the point. Fair enough, and much of this gets cleared, though, and there's a nano in the backline here, so CJ and Bliss are big chilling, and there's nothing really that Infected can do about it. So early take here for SSG, and they will expend a nano for it, in fairness, but it was a close fight.
I was going to say, though, the supports for SSG have their ultimates yet again, right? It feels like back-to-back fights are able to do so. RuPaul and Vega need to get value out of this nano and sound barrier coming up. I mean, you don't get value out of those, you are in a lot of trouble.
Liquid have to get it together, Matt. It's got to be about now. 40% and counting for SSG. Liquid have both support ultimates to use. They might want to layer them, but Kellen is going to get hit with a bio. Still wants to go in, though, and fight with his primal. Sound barrier has to come out for Vega. RuPaul's getting pretty close to a nano, as well as Tree's going to pop the overclock, and they are throwing everything, including the kitchen sink at Space Station Gaming. Seeker, though, with an overclock of his own. A safe spot to play from, and a glancing blow on Knife, though, barely keeps him honest as he builds up his duplicate. Into the backline goes Knife. Plenty of durability. Being able to copy another player, and he'll make sure that Sugar-Free is accounted for. But SSG now at 84% and counting. It's a big lead to a build-up, and Liquid, that fight win cost them everything.
And for SSG, you end up just kind of coming out of this feeling pretty good, right? You end up using your overclock, you end up using your primal, you use the rally a little bit earlier, right? But you force Team Liquid into a scenario where they absolutely had to use just about everything. You still have this dupe, right? And that's going to be used probably for Knight to just be able to kind of keep himself alive, give himself another opportunity. But SSG sets themselves up as good as you possibly could here to win it, and not going to have the dupe.
That's devastating. They've also got the Sugar-Free blade that can't be countered by a support ultimate. They're going to go for it. It's Lenny time, folks, at an important point on the map. Time to end it. Nano here for Sugar-Free. Into the back line. RuPaul no sleep. Apparently bio thrown uselessly at the ground. And Sugar-Free's able to take 2. Force the dupe out of Knife just to stay alive now. A Genji battle, but Sugar-Free has already done his job. And by God, he's going to win it out as well. The guy basically cut through 4 different opponents in succession. And SSG laughing all the way to the bank with that Suravasa win that came from nowhere.
And for Team Liquid, you probably think like, all right, we go to Suravasa, we play ball, we're sitting pretty, look good early on, and then SSG just started to click, and they kind of steal what feels like they steal Suravasa, and now up 2-0. I mean, they are in a commanding spot. Like you mentioned, it felt like RuPaul was doing just about everything he possibly could on the Ana there for Team Liquid. But SSG just playing so well as a team, man.
Yeah, I mean, again, the big difference between these two rosters, obviously it's Ball and Winston, it's Echo versus Genji. And that last fight, things just end up panning out so well. I mean, we saw SSG start on the Cassidy play because obviously, you know, hindrance grenade on the Wrecking Ball gives you another tool to deal with it. This was heartbreaking. It probably should have been a liquid point there. RuPaul is trying. He's just a second too late there on healing a teammate and then a second too late on nanoing knife. They obviously make the rest of the map look really good, right? These RuPaul off angles, which is something that we've seen him do for years, followed up on perfectly by Infected. There's a really oppressive combo now that second perk gets online for the Wrecking Ball, and it's looking really, really good. The double bio bounce on this map and the Wrecking Ball combo is nasty. It's really easy to hit big, anti-heals across the enemy team. I'm telling you, man, Sugar Free, his Tracer got banned out. They're trying to target him. He pulls out the Genji, and frankly, it's a seamless transition into another fat dub for this SSG team.
It has to feel good for Sugar Free as well, right? I know seeing his ex-teammates on the other side of things, right? Trying to ban out some of the heroes that he's amazing at. Look at the game. This is an SSG scoreboard map win. And like Team Liquid, like with a 3.8. I mean, that is just it's literally how the match felt, where it felt like Team Liquid was kind of cruising through there, but SSG just kept coming up with wins.
It's the flashpoints that Liquid won were a little more one-sided.
Yeah,
and I feel like that number 2, number 3 flashpoint definitely looked like Liquid were starting to ease into things, right? Become dominant. But as SSG just fighting another level again, you can really pin a lot on the Seeker Sojourn, just finding random picks on incredibly important targets. These nasty body grenades. I mean, we are, like, in our top 4 teams, we have unbelievable Ana players. UV, CJ, Squid, RuPaul, all incredible. All can take over a game on their own. And if you leave one of these Anas unattended, rather, with too much space, then with these perks especially, they are going to do just that. It is crazy to me to watch RuPaul get outdone by anyone. And CJ is doing that. It has been ridiculous.
Okay, so TL will take us to Route 66, and they will get rid of... So it will be a Winston ban from Team Liquid, and then on the other side for SSG, they just get rid of the Ana, which is quite... those two go hand in hand, right? Ana, obviously, one of RuPaul's favorite heroes to potentially play, right? So that is gone. I wonder what we end up with here, right? Because we've seen from SSG, it's really just been Kellen on the Winston the entire time, right? So here's an opportunity to change things up.
We did see SSG earlier on, at least, play some ball, right? And Kellen's got a lot of experience there, but we might end up just looking at a hazard comp here. With like a Kiriko Juno, especially for the defending side, like Lucio Kiri is definitely an option for you. And go in that direction. Ana being taken off here definitely means that it's a little bit harder to disrupt. It's obviously, both teams essentially banning out a pick that's crucial for a Winston comp to work. And we just go to a straight Amalgamera. That would be something.
I mean, it would be a little bit of a different look with obviously how this series is gone. The Maga mirror would be really, I don't really even know. We haven't seen Kellen actually can play Maga. We've seen Team Liquid really kind of not go for it, right? They want to play ball and things along those lines. So this would be a little bit of a different look.
Right. Liquid are on the ropes here. It's time to listen and see what their plan is to get them out of Route 66 and into this series.
Okay, guys, ready? Liquid! Fighting!
I'm cool. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Shoot Maga. 3, 2, 1.
Maga counter, Maga. Genji.
Maga.
Keep going.
Go.
Oh shit. We can turn. Alright, let's get out. Make sure you don't leave me. There's it. I want to kill Maga or backline? I think. Whoever I stomp. Okay. I can ring. Come right. Come right again. Look. 3 close.
3 ready.
Ready? 3, 2, 1. Looking backline. I'm on break. Break one.
Low.
Turn one. Need help. Living. I'm done. Oh. Good trade. Look straight. Go on. Nice.
Can you get
Dire, get out.
Get one.
Wait, rally, Juno's in. Okay.
Okay, well, we've learned Liquid very good at counting down from 3. Maybe not so hot in the Malga mirror, though.
I loved the enthusiasm, though.
Yeah, can you imagine a team that Unter coaches doing a 3-2-1 fighting at the start of the game? Can you,
no.
Can you imagine Seeker and Sugar Free doing that?
You need, standing over a tray of shots, I can imagine. One, but I can't imagine, start of the games kick things off.
Maybe not. It is a bit of tough start for Liquid, though. Malga mirror, Space Station have let Sugar Free off the chain. He goes pretty mental on him over those first couple of seconds, but this is an orbital raid that's teased out of SSG.
I do love, though, when Team Liquid, that is, he was really far up. I mean, no, we'll see Knight now with a blade here, see if he can come up with something. I did like the, 1, 2, 3 fighting and like how excited they were, and then they just like, all like, in just monotone, we're like, Maga.
Yeah,
he's on the other side.
Sucks the life out of you, for sure.
Yeah.
I think that play from Bliss needs to be put under a Petri dish and studied, because Space Station, unfortunately, just hit their wires crossed a little bit and end up handing over a fight to Liquid. However, boy howdy, do they have a lot to work with in this fight. Both teams running at 4 ultimates here. Cage fight's going to be messy. A blade though in those cage fights could be quite a thing.
Yeah, Cage Blade opportunity here for SSG will be both overclocks used, both rallies used. So, it actually be RuPaul ult as well ends up using the orbital ray here. So, support ultimate stacked here for Team Liquid.
There's a big spin. Sugar Free. Oh, that's a 20 HP blade. He's going for it. Unbelievable energy here. Knife brought down. Infected, not that low though. Sugar Free's able to avoid detection though for the most part. And this Malga is going to be surrounded and dragged on down. They have hog-tied the man.
Dude.
Space Station back in control with under a minute left in the game. Still a fight though to be had. It's awkward here for SSG. Seeker though is on the return and they've got their supports in play.
SSG spawn hold was actually really well, right? You mentioned that Sugar Free was ending up, picked up like 3 or 4 kills in one of the fights, and they actually are going to get this orbital ray here, dude. So you're in a really brutal spot for Team Liquid. You went like all in on that previous fight.
That's a great point. That's scary ultimate to run
against. Gotta keep Kellen up.
CJ get it in time though to get Kellen in the game. Little more, just a little CJ, please. 1 more percent. Kellen's gone down. Seeker not in a position to benefit from an orbital ray that frankly is just for cosmetic value right now. That is it. Timing was not there on CJ's side, and Space Station crumble.
They needed somebody else, I think, to kind of like step up and play the card there for Kellen. Like they were trying to actually do so, but I think everybody was just really low. I think like Sugar Free was extremely low when he moved out onto it. They were trying to kind of like cycle Kellen back and then being able to kind of push in with him once he gets topped up behind that orbital rate. Just not able to do so, but still a very good defense here so far from SSG.
SSG, after a little bit of an awkward fight there, still have plenty of space to get good high ground established. Going for a blade here in front of Bliss, respect it. No rally bash available. Knife can be able to cut through the backline here. Sharp as you like. And that's Liquid now starting to build ahead of steam. They've got momentum on their side, and now they can move into this defensive high ground.
They need to make up some time here, dude. We're being held basically into OT there on that first point. If you want any chance to complete the map, you're gonna speed run here through this next portion. And although you don't have a blade combo, you do have this cage fight, right? Cage fight up on the high ground, potentially here. No support ultimates just yet here for SSG. So you definitely have the opportunity to potentially snowball this.
This tree position is really hard to beat though, man.
Does the cage get anybody? I don't think the cage catches anybody.
No, it may not be intended to. Honestly, yeah, maybe you want to catch a Malga in it. It's going to be a charge in now for Kellen. He gets into the cage. There's an order rate coming out from RuPaul. Bliss has a rally though as well. Kellen low, eventually going to be dragged down. We might need another bronze blade to bail us out if you're a Space Station fan. Sugar Free's holding onto it, waiting out the rally, but by the time that happens, well, SSG are gone. They simply cease to exist.
That's exactly what Team Liquid needed, though. They needed to move through this second part of the map extremely fast, and they do so. 2 clean fights, no real resistance there from SSG. So now, though, you don't really have much to work with. You ended up kind of having to use all your ultimates to work your way to this point. Now you think SSG, they play quite aggressive, right? You start to cycle some of these ultimates. 2 minutes on the clock, you're looking at like 2-3 fights here, and you potentially get a hold.
Yeah, a bunch of back-to-back 1 fights for Liquid. Hold the though, can definitely do it. 2 minutes on the clock is not a huge amount of time. And this is such a one-sided fight here. Liquid obviously not having any ultimates to bring, but Space Station not feeling the need to spend many of theirs either.
Just Blade, right? So you end up just using Blade there. You'll get about 1:30 for this next fight to kick off. You're going to end up... You don't have a rally here for Knife's Blade. Knife looking a little bit better here. I know. On this third map on the Genji. So we'll see how you kind of like go about this, right? It'll be Seeker just trying to get away. Kellen actually uses the cage here. I don't know if he's actually caught anything. It looks like actually just the tanks and co, but... Yeah, I mean, you're not going to be able to take anybody out in that cage. So you use the cage fight. Maybe you think you can actually kind of catch Knife inside of it, but Knifer has already done his work before he gets back to the cage.
And he wins a bona fide 1v2 against a ulting Soja. And you know, like a Brig that is definitely scary for Genji to deal with at the best of times. Like one whip shot and, you know, the spacing's too much for Knife. That was a sick blade for Knife. Really unassisted in terms of obviously like no nano or anything on the table. Just raw individual mechanics. Good to see that now start to come to the fore. That's why Liquid have invested in that player and not someone else maybe more notable or the bigger name. Here's Overclock for Seeker. Very chunky 150 charge rails coming in, but Liquid don't really offer him an opportunity to get that damage down. Double support ult here for Spacestation though, so this clock will begin to bleed a little bit, but Liquid have what it takes here to shove them over.
Both overclocks don't really result in much of anything, right? Everybody knows how powerful those 150 charge rails are, especially with Seeker and Tree, so everybody just backs on up. This will be final fight.
Double orbital ray coming down. Here's the cage fire play, going to be used by Sugarfree. He wants to break out of this prison. I'm not stuck in here with you. You're stuck in here with me. And it isn't for long, that's for sure. Clean fight for Lenny. 15 seconds left in the round, and a little bit of stagger on RuPaul does not go astray. He's going to come in on the next spawn wave.
Yes, you'll have Infected go ball here just to try and get back, get a touch. So it looks like they're just trying to hunt this Wrecking Ball down. He will send it into OT, though. You're going to have Tree come back on Tracer here. Try and keep this one going with Knife.
Well, Infected's gone to the corner store for Milkmat, so we'll see if he ends up being a factor. Back on the card here, but Knife has already been taken down.
He's going to have a blade.
Yeah, little mispositioning there for Liquid. Knife so close to another big Dragon Blade that could have saved the game, but I think Liquid here are going to completely fizzle out. Lovely work there from Seeker. Railgun secures all of the backliners and Infected, and this is where the Liquid push stops.
And they really made up a lot of time that second part of the map. They were pretty poor on their first point offense, almost get full held, but they looked like a completely different team through the second part of the map. Looked really good. That's where they make up a lot of the time. And I think they're going to have put together a really good point A defense. Like, you're going to have to play close up and be pretty successful, I think, here for TL.
Yeah, I mean, I forget, honestly, how long SSG were able to hold off and how successful they were at playing that sort of deep fight. Like Sugarfree with that blade, finding 3 kills in that early engagement. Everyone at Space Station running pretty nicely.
Yeah.
This Brig Juno, look, obviously, is still very reasonable. Like, the Ana exclusion almost forces the Malga comp with Winston not being an option here. And Space Station, man, kind of able to do everything. Liquid here, I mean, they've said that the reason they built the roster the way they have is because they really value that flexibility. It's the #1 thing they wanted coming into this year. And they have that in spades for sure, but when you go up against a team like SSG that's able to do it better, and in theory, SSG, outside of the DPS line, they kind of have second pick of a lot of the top players in the region this year, just given the backing that Liquid has. So SSG would be very pleased with the result, and the win here would be massive. Let's listen in as they are looking to qualify for our Champions Cup. Let's listen in.
Yeah. When you guys ping ready, I go walking.
Yeah.
They're fighting.
Fighting.
막아.
It is a threat.
Can you talk?
I'm ready to get top left. I'm ready to get top left. He's ready. 3, 2, 1.
I will split.
Get me. Let's go. They're all shooting me.
You can push car.
Get in on the point.
Little back. Slow.
Search up left.
We're there.
I'll play so.
Can you go finger right side? I go right side. Soda left side.
Yeah, I'll go left. He's ready.
Coming. 1, 2, 3, split.
Swing left.
Swing.
Turn left.
Swing it.
긴장.
Get on. They're trying to trade me.
Come on.
It's okay.
Only one.
Yours not bad.
Yeah. Comms at Overwatch still haven't changed, guys, just in case you're wondering.
Sometimes you're just like, you're so locked in, you know? I think that's like what's going on with SSG. Everybody just locked in, just shouting character names.
Meditative mantras that you repeat. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It really does. I mean,
and everyone
since
ends up
the beginning
becoming,
of
actually mind linked by the repetition, like simultaneously of that phrase. They should be studied, honestly. Not by me though. I've got better things to do, like talk about video games. But 2 minutes 20 here. After that push, eventually gets broken by SSG. They want to play it slow. You hear that? Now though, they might be ready to take it up a notch. Here comes both support ultimates from the defenders, and RuPaul, buddy, that is brutal. What a stop there from Kellen as well. Looked like 3 or 4 people knocked on their rear ends. And buddy, we are done on this first checkpoint virtually. Cage fight here. Going to control the spacing now for Liquid, but it ends up going much closer than you otherwise would expect. SugarFree's got to finish the job, and as Amalgam, he's got to get through here. Awkward. Spawn advantage, something they're going to hope to leverage, but a big mega health pack for SugarFree means he can get away. Thought it was done. Liquid fight back admirably.
He's just trying to kite some of this damage from the Maga, right? Doesn't want to get put on fire, and now you're going to have Kellen back in the fight. It will be a cage fight, though, potentially here for Infected, as the tree needs to be able to stay alive. That'll be the cage fight here.
That's a missed dash, I think, for SugarFree that really costs SSG. It would have been an easy kill on the Soj. Otherwise, eventually Bliss's shield bursts and Tree's able to break through. 1 and 2 backliners have finally been put to bed. And that's a clean fight for Team Liquid now as the clock starts to get into the red zone for the attacking SSG.
Huge 2 fight wins there from Team Liquid. Infected able to stay alive in that one epic one-on-one against SugarFree, and then that time gets a good use of the cage fight, and the support's able to keep him up as Team Liquid showing signs of life here on Route 66.
1 minute. 1 minute of Route 66 left for Liquid. Try and keep their head above water here. And the brief moment, the only time we'll probably see Malga mirror in this matchup. Unlike EMEA. Infected low at Cardiac Overdrive, not able to help him there. And there's SugarFree over the top once more. Into the back line. This time he does not miss those dashes. It is a clean sweep. And a blade built, probably for a fight of that second phase.
And now you're going to see kind of the shoe on the other foot, right? Can SSG put together a really clean second part of the map, just like Team Liquid, right? We both go into like OT here. On our first point, I think SSG finishes with a few seconds left. Nothing like too meaningful, but can you put together a really fast second checkpoint take? That is what Team Liquid did. Gave themselves an awesome opportunity there to potentially even complete the map. They get it pretty far. I think you're going to need that to happen for SSG if they're going to have a shot.
Orbital Ray comes at just the right time for CJ. SugarFree was looking for Sucker. Vega and Infected are down. And Space Station. Beautifully done off the back of that Juno ultimate. That's all they really had to spend in that fight. Liquid dove deep, were fully committed, and really had to fight an uphill battle against that statistical advantage that SSG capitalized upon.
Yeah, but for Team Liquid, you didn't end up using anything, right? The thing I would be worried about for Team Liquid here, though, is like Kellen flying around the corner here, with that cage, right? This is where Infected tried to use the cage and didn't catch anybody. And then the blade coming on through, right? That would be a brutal scenario. It'll be a rally here used by Vega just to try and get out.
Blade here, rally not enough to stop it. RuPaul under pressure, no healing for the front line of Liquid, but all they have to hope is not needed. Knife goes for a blade himself. And SugarFree emerges to realize, wait, I did all this work, and unfortunately, my team has just lost out the fight elsewhere.
Is he just going to kill everybody? Okay, for a second there, I was like, wait, what? Because Knife was quite low, but takes Tree out on the exit. Yeah, as both Genjis get crazy value out of the blade, just Knife and Co. Able to stay alive over by that card, then that's going to slow down SSG.
So that was Blades. This fight is overclocks.
Rally available for SSG, so that's a positive.
Yeah, Vega made use of theirs previously, and they got killed through it by SugarFree. Zika's respecting, though, the crackback here from Tree! What? On the move! Are you kidding? Zika! An absolute death-defying stunt there. Rips the head off his opposite number in flight. Majestic as a crane. Now there's going to have to double back. Orbital Ray in play for Team Liquid, but Bliss wants to stunt up Infected to make it hard for him to hit the back line. There's a rally in play for SSG now as they want to come forward, but a cage fight might be their undoing. They've got to respect it. Zika working from the outside, but dives into it absolutely harebrained. He serves himself up on a silver platter to Tree, who just can't say no.
Yeah, the cage fight's so impactful there towards the end. That'll be CJ sending himself off the side as just like that, we are in a final fight situation here for SSG. Team Liquid, an opportunity to take a map, make this series a little bit more interesting here with just one more fight. They don't have anything to work with, though.
Spacestation pushing from the low ground. Disadvantaged positionally. No big ultimates yet to make use of. Kellen goes in deep and should just die. Ah, okay, at least turns into a trade. Tree's gone down, so you might even think that's worth it in some situations, but here, unlikely. Sugar Free is the only DPS on the map. 80 charge, not quite a blade. Realizes he can't just go and dive on the Juno. This team needs him, and Knife here is going to try and cut through this orbital ray. That's one, and that will be enough. A huge fight for Knife, and Team Liquid squeak out a win here on Route 66. It takes everything from them, but at least we know they can hang with this SSG team.
It would have been pretty disappointing to see them go out 0-3 here to SSG. Although we know how good SSG is, we think Team Liquid can kind of obviously hang with the best. So to see them win a map here, a good sign, as it'll be SSG's map pick now moving forward. And yeah, I mean, the Mauga mirror, right? It's something that we haven't seen a ton of in NA today, right? Last week, I feel like it was all Mauga 24/7. This week, I feel like we haven't seen much of any of it so far. This time though, we get a Mauga mirror here, and Team Liquid comes out on top.
Super validating for Team Liquid, because this is, far from an easy comp to win out in. It's probably the only time you see these two teams mirror, as there's a preference overwhelmingly for Ball or Winston respectively. But again, it's the kind of map where you could easily have gone for those dive comps and had it look very differently, but the bans really catered to this situation. I do feel like that is a silver bullet though that has left the chamber for Team Liquid. And obviously, they need to in the next couple of maps. It is map selection for SSG for the rest of the series. And that is going to be, again, an uphill battle for them. But they can take solace, I think, in a great map here, and they've demonstrated they're on a similar level. Knife had a fantastic game on the Genji. I think he's able to have a lot more impact on that pick than on the Echo, for example, which, for me, didn't really look like a huge difference maker early on in the series.
I would completely agree. I think Knife definitely had his best map of the series here on Route 66, right? So to see Team Liquid come alive behind that player, right, and put together a much better performance. The KDs, I mean, looking really good for TL over the last two maps. I actually think this is the Servos stat card, but just with the map updated. But Team Liquid played much better here, I think, en route. They looked really good here. Curious what we see now from, well, I mean, it's going to be push, right? So you figured that it's just going to be an Esperanca pick here for SSG. So not left with many great options once it's just push in the mix.
You don't have a way to force a Mauga here on this map. I don't even know if you have a way to sort of craft a favorable compositional matchup here. You don't have an Ana. SSG banned Ana, so you could sort of go that way. You obviously can't ban Winston. SSG can ban Wrecking Ball, if I'm not mistaken. They can also. Mauga's already been banned, I think, in this series from them. So it's not that you won't be able to play Mauga. Is that, do we see SSG try and play the Winston comp into it and win? Because we've seen already Nightmare trying to do that. We saw it on Suravasa as well. At least the. How those comps sort of matched up here. So I'm very curious.
I guess if you ban Ball, for argument's sake, right? I mean, that allows them, Team Liquid banned, Team Liquid hasn't banned, I mean, we wouldn't ban like you're not going to ban any of the damage dealers, right? They already banned Tracer and Genji, right? So those would be the two you would do.
Liquid could ban Genji, no. Sorry, SSG, because they have not banned any damage dealers. If they'd want to force a Tracer mirror with Sugar Free on Knife, but I don't know if that gives them enough of an edge, really.
Yeah, but I think they would just, they would probably try and play Echo, right? I think that's what they would probably try and do. They would probably try and play like the Ball with the Echo. Yeah, I'm curious what route they decide to go here for these bans, because with obviously Esperanca being the map pick, right? You're obviously limited in that regard. So the ban is what you kind of imagine is like the thing that would potentially turn the side in this one.
Yeah, we're definitely waiting on that one with bated breath, folks, with a likely Esperanca map, ahead of us here. The kind where we've seen a bunch of different comps tried out there. In fact, with Wager over the last 6 months, we've probably seen almost every tank brought out there with
I got the bans.
All right.
SSG with the first ban has banned Lifeweaver. And then Team Liquid banned Sombra.
Yep. Okay.
Little Weaver ban.
Yeah. Little Weaver respect.
So look, maybe they don't want to ban any of the tanks, right? And then you don't want, cause what? TL has all these supports available to potentially ban, right? So they could have banned Ana, they could have banned Juno, they could have banned Brig. I mean, any combination. So Lifeweaver thrown out there is probably more of like we don't want them to potentially ban a Ana, Kiri, you know, something along those lines, right? Rather than being scared of potentially Lifeweaver. Although we did see Lifeweaver once today, I don't think anybody's going to be copying that anytime soon, though.
No, I don't know if that is the... I do appreciate the innovation, genuinely. But this is, of course, Space Station Gaming map pick. And a map that could decide the outcome of the series, with SSG advancing into our upper final. By no means the winner yet in these OWCS NA Stage 1 playoffs, but guaranteeing that spot in the Champions Clash is a good start. However, if you've had a look at Pacific, see what's happening over there, you want a good seeding. You really want a good seeding heading into China, otherwise things get tough.
TL could have banned Lucio, for instance, right? For argument's sake, where, Vega could have played more of the Brig here, right? You could play something along those lines where both teams will end up playing same damage dealers. We will have the Ana Winston set up here for SSG going into that Maga for Team Liquid. So RuPaul going to be playing also the Kiri, right? Because you want that cleanse here for the Maga. CJ's been so good on the Ana.
Interesting.
You're going to be a little bit behind, I think, in terms of overall healing output for Team Liquid, right? In comparison, the Ana to the Kiri, but you're kind of relying on, with that Maga damage and survivability, that you're going to win these fights fast.
Well, that has not happened quite yet. Infected, though, is going to be able to be topped up. You'll notice that Kellen is broadly trying to avoid him. Just get run down there. Took too much damage. It is really hard to beat a team on this Malga comp with Winston. We talked about it all day. It is doable, but we don't feel like the Winston look is favored, especially if there isn't a great way on some maps to just ignore or avoid the Malga. Now, Liquid, high ground advantage, threatening an early checkpoint.
Yes, it is really hard to play this Winston into the Malga, like you mentioned, especially when the Kiri's still in the mix, right? Because you want to die, follow up the bios, and they just get cleansed. Now you're inside of the Malga's wheelhouse when he's got that cardiac overdrive going, and it's actually giving value. So you're in a really rough spot if you're SSG. And then I guess for SSG, you don't really want to play the mirror, I guess, especially after that root win.
I suspect no. I don't think you want to go there. I mean, you can hang for sure. Feels like a bit of a risk. You feel like your Winston comp is better objectively, you go for it. Oh, CJ missed an opening. Okay, luckily. Kellen gave him line of sight to get nanoed. Straight away, though, Kellen ends up facing Malga. He doesn't want to chase the Tracer down. That's a waste of his time. He doesn't have enough nano left to hit the back line. And now Seeker has died. So this lack of pressure on Tree's position allows him to use a disruptor shot to take down the opposite number. And Team Liquid now are chilling.
Dude, this is going to be really difficult, I think, for SSG to break. I think you have to consider potentially playing something else. It'll be RuPaul and co playing quite aggressive here. Kitsune Rush use. It's actually going to force SSG out of that position to ramp all the way around, which may end up giving them checkpoints here. They're going to get very close, at least Team Liquid, to getting it. That's going to be the cleanse there onto Infected.
Yeah, Kellen needs to get a backline, and he needs to stick here. He has to put pressure down on some of these crucial healers and CPSs, but yeah, Sound Barrier comes out. Liquid have had the answer to every question that Space Station have tried to pose to them. Tree is going to get away with this, I'm certain of it. Great Suzu there. Kellen's going to get run down by the backline of Liquid. This is their map to lose.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, they're looking to run it down here on Esperanca, SSG's map pick. Bliss was getting very close to Sound Barrier there. We may have seen them kind of use that Sound Barrier in response when Team Liquid decides to use theirs, but does not get in time. Knife finds a kill onto Bliss. Knife has come alive these last two maps.
Could SSG not have banned Kiri this game map to deny the cleanse?
I think they banned it really early. I think it was I think it was maybe their map 1 ban, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, here's SSG with a beat in this fight. We do have these overclocks go off, so there's some volatility there, but it kind of goes the way we expect it to. Space Station eventually are shoved back and cycling into their support ultimates. Now they can start to get into the game. This is not an insurmountable deficit to have to face. Liquid are actually getting extra progress now as the fight continues. Infected Dies on in, jumps there. Cage fight, definitely not a consideration at this point in the game. Liquid will hold on to that for the next fight.
I mean, dude, it's gonna be hard though. Like you mentioned, I mean, you're not out of it just yet. I think because of just the amount of time left on the clock, but in how things are looking in terms of these comps kind of interacting with each other, it's not looking pretty here for SSG. Feels like this Maga has definitely given some of their Winston-based setups a lot of trouble here, especially now with the Kiri in the mix to get those cleanses, right? RuPaul will have a Kitsune rush here. You're gonna be able to just kind of like run down a target.
SSG are out of the bands that could target this Mauga look. That's the problem. So even if we go to a next map, even if they get to choose it, they don't really get to dictate what comp Liquid will come out on. So that could be a problem. We'll get there though. We'll cross the bridge when we get to it, rather. Pulse here dropped on the feet of Bliss. He could not jump away on top of that flower box to escape it. Nice primal from Kellen though, breaks through the cage and deals with RuPaul, and here's a team up onto Tree. Nice little Winston moment here. There's still the Mauga though to deal with. Kellen can disrupt, but having to face down those chain guns at close range is scary, and he's being ignored. CJ dies. Kellen cannot do a damn thing to take attention away from his backline, and that's the power of Mauga for you.
Dude, I thought CJ was gonna live through that. That would have been nasty. Is he actually takes out Knife, and then Infected just kind of running him down, but the Mauga just too large of an HP pool to be able to bring down for SSG. So, you know, these cleanses from RuPaul have been really good there onto Infected, and then once these fights start to get rolling, there's not, you know, even with like a Sojourn, right? There's not like that burst there that's even still able to kind of deal with the Mauga.
Rush and beat for Liquid. So even though they appear to be giving a little bit of ground to Space Station, they can very quickly regain it here in this next fight. Extra perk up here for Vega, just developed that. Hasn't skipped a spec into it yet, excuse me.
Cool.
Caught him midair though. Sugarfree able to find some damage, and a rail was enough to account for Vega. Tree will fall and a bio on Infected. Still able to take CJ down, still able to overrun the Ana. That is a risk. And Kellen can only look on. Can't really come to the rescue of their backliner at all. And now they don't have a bio to deal with this Mauga now. They can though attack the architecture around it. Namely RuPaul. That's the healing, of course, and the Suzu taken off the game, but Infected is going to stall this for a long time, and he's going to make it costly for Space Station to clear the Mauga.
I had mentioned that you had like 6 minutes on the clock, right? And now, I mean, half that time is just completely gone. Yeah. Also, with the Kiri being in, it's a lot harder for the Winston, right? Because when they were playing like Ana with this type of composition, right? It's an easy dive target for SSG. But with the Kiri, right? Not only do you get the cleanses, but the double swift step, right? Where you're able to just, hey, you know, the Winston plus the Tracer end up using all their movement. Guess what? You know, completely out of the way, right? And then now those players are stuck. But and Infected, it feels like it's impossible for him to die.
Seeker gets nannered here. It's going to have to be a sound barrier straight away, but he can really start to tear strips off this Mauga, who's been bioed inside the cage fight. Infected is down, but the cage persists and it captures Seeker and CJ. And they will be able to be brought down. The latter to the burn of the latent chain guns after the Mauga had fallen. That is dirty! Sugarfree goes down to it though as Knife Nose to try and blink into his opponent. So a mutual Tracer elimination as a result of a pulse bomb. Tree's going to be juggled, but still can handle Bliss. Man, you are watching some of the very best players in the world right now, folks. Enjoy.
That all they needed to take out Infected's Mauga was a nano, an overclock, a sound barrier, to be able to just and a bio that they didn't have a Suzu for to be able to deal with the Mauga. But now, dude, you've used all of that and you kind of got really nothing, right? We're back here at mid map, where I feel like the last 4 minutes of play have been had.
And that cost every ult for Space Station, man. They still couldn't break through. An uphill battle for this team comp. We've mentioned it a couple times today. The previous series, it was also a factor. Team Liquid, really hard to simply exploit and overrun when they're on this Mauga look. Bliss is down. And the Space Station really don't have much to work with here. Kellen's forced to jump out of the way. Infected bioed. He doesn't really care. I don't even know if it's Suzu'd in the end. There's just no follow-up here. And SSG might need to think about bringing Sombre into the next map. Now that it won't be able to be banned because they don't have a way to shut Infected down. He's doing whatever he wants.
Is the Sombra even so I think what also could have potentially happened, right, is that if you don't ban, let's say you don't ban the Life Weaver here for SSG, do you just ban, if you're Team Liquid, do you just ban the Ana, right? I don't believe Team Liquid has actually done a Ana ban. We'd have to actually kind of get it up, right? Yeah, it was SSG. So like, Team Liquid would just ban the Ana, and then there's no bio for the Maga, right? You could play Juno with this and be totally fine.
Trade there, Vega goes down. RuPaul just desperately trying to keep Tree alive, but the Suzu was 2 seconds off cooldown and he couldn't save him from the pulse bomb. Now Lenny reconsiders the safety of trying to go up to a Kiriko at about 66 HP. It would be insta-death to a headshot. So he's playing safe. Space Station, though, definitely on the back foot. They definitely haven't found a way to get back into this game. And Infected chases Sugar Free down. CJ gets flattened. This guy do be a little bit cheeky. A bit brutal on the Malga. He's got a cage fight now for his next engagement. They'll likely, though, wait for some reinforcements. But stall this out they have, and they've made it so expensive for SSG to get any pushback, to get any favorable momentum on this map.
This series should be marked as pre-Maga and post-Maga. That has really kind of been the difference between these two teams so far. As Infected walks up, this will be a cage fight. Kellen will end up using the Primal. They don't want to use the beat just yet. Now they end up investing it.
Bliss gets a beat here. Keep Kellen standing. Seeker overclock. Finally, he's going to get something. Seeker been a little bit muted, a little bit quiet this game by comparison. Lucio almost fell there. Vega would have gone down, but Seeker has to change his target. Gets a disruptor shot stuck on the two Infected, so gets a lot of charge off that. But again, we need a dominant, one-sided landslide fight win from SSG. And they're just very close engagements. Maybe they live with 2 or 3 people left. Yeah. And that's it.
But both supports still alive here for Team Liquid. They're gonna have to like kind of get back to the rest of the squad though. Here is you see SSG, they don't want to like move the bot so far away from some of the people coming off of spawn, right? They want to allow everybody to get back up, group together. Getting it dangerously close here is Kellen will have to jump out. Somebody will have to jump out, get a touch. That was Sugar Free, jumped on it.
They've done that perfectly, Matt. Kept overtime going here. It is going to start to decay a little bit quicker, but there it is. Kellen is down. Pulse bomb caught Bliss. And Team Liquid are going to finish this map with a flourish. Before Tree goes, he sends a parting gift to Seeker. A posthumous kill, a Pyrrhic victory for him, but overall, a very positive map win for Team Liquid. We're going all the way to 5, folks, and can't imagine any other way this series ought to end.
This series started out where it looked like it was going to be a blowout in favor of SSG. And then as we've gone on and now Infected has come in on the Maga, and we've seen whether it be Maga v Maga or the Winston come into play against the Maga comp, Team Liquid looks impossible to move that Maga off of the objective, really off of the field. I mean, Infected rarely dying, it feels like. And now SSG needs to search for some answers, man. A game 5 is not where they expected to be.
And this is Team Liquid here after a stumble at the start of stage 1. They really didn't get out of the gates. They got beaten 3-0 by Timeless. Since then, they have been able to recover. They did have a pretty decent run back. But again, being 5-2, put them a little bit behind the 8 ball. It's a close game against Nightmare that gets them into this very matchup, and the series starts horrifically for Team Liquid. They're trying to play ball. They're trying to play everything they can against the Winston look of this team. And it wasn't enough until they finally brave the storm of bans targeted at this Malga comp, and they get to bring out what they've been working on. Something that the consensus in EMEA especially is that it is the best comp. And not even Space Station are able to stop them in this map. Lock it in, folks, a game 5. And we'll see this Malga comp surely pedaled out again. Do Space Station have a silver bullet left?
I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, you would think they would have used it by now with the way things have gone. But, man, I would love to see just kind of the map set and the bans, right? Like what we potentially have left here for SSG to work with. Not many great options potentially, right? To especially deal with that Maga, because Maga is so impactful earlier in the series, right? Where people kind of going, for that. I'm just, man, what do you do here if you are SSG for game 5? In terms of map selection, and then also in terms of like ban. We don't have like a great okay, so Dorado would be the one. I was gonna say you don't have a game like a Gibraltar, for instance, in the pool, right? But Dorado still kind of creates that same impact with the dive. I just don't know what do you get rid of here if you're SSG? I mean,
you could try and force Tracer here if you're worried about Knife's Genji. You feel like, where's Sugar Free the strongest here? Can you set him up?
Sugar Free's Genji's been nasty. Yeah, it's just obviously
It was also, but maybe there might be a little bit more reliance on like that Ana play. A Zen ban here for SSG, so protecting any other supports, and then an Ashe ban here from TL, which is kind of interesting because I don't know if we should expect Seeker to go that way. It has happened, but I feel like he'd be happy on Sojourn either way.
I also wonder if this is just another support ban because all of the supports are available for Team Liquid, right? Like you would just ban Ana, for instance, right? And that would mess everything up, right? Like if you banned Ana here,
you have to protect ban for you.
Yeah, you have to kind of protect ban for the support. And then Ashe is a character that we see Seeker play a decent amount, especially on these like really long sightlines where we don't see Tree play it as much, I would say, as like Seeker, right? So I think these last two maps, those bans for SSG are just to kind of give them some protection against this potential ban that could come through from Team Liquid.
Both teams' bans, subtle but reasonable. Both trying to target each other's weaknesses, or at least defender strengths if you're an SSG player. Make sure CJ and Bliss can play this Ana Brig setup. A lot on the line in this game, folks. A guaranteed top 2 placing, a spot at a Champions Clash in Hangzhou. And of course, a chance to fight for that number 1 seed in NA, which will account for a heck of a lot. Oh, did I mention? A lot of prize money on the line, 30k for a number 1 team in NA. That's before they even hit the international stage. It all ends here, folks, on Dorado. Liquid on the attack side. We'll be opening here, at least a Widow look. It'll be SSG on that classic Winston-based comp.
Well, with so much high ground here, it's really difficult to play like the Maga. Like, for instance, like Team Liquid has played like the ball on this map, even historically in the past, right? Where the high ground might just be too strong to deal with, right? So it will be Tree, though, playing the Widow here against Seeker. Rarely, rare chance we see Seeker not playing the Widow off the start here.
Seeker might be happy to switch into that matchup here. I felt like Tree was just wanting to linger on it a little bit longer just to fool Space Station. We still have a Widow in play. A whip shot here will delay Kellen's landing, but he opts just to perch up here on the building, so he's got a lot of flexibility. They know where the Widow is. Tree has to respect that Winston will come knocking. But there is support in the Brig playing by Tree. That's a lot of resources, though, Matt, to allocate to keeping this Widow relevant.
Oh, absolutely, right? Especially when they're not really giving the Widow great sightlines. I mean, we're on with Tree's POV because you never want to miss anything with a Widowmaker or something happen, but there really no sightlines given over towards Tree. Is Kellen here now just being a nuisance, right? Nobody kind of peeking from that high ground. This is as good as, this is kind of the map you would want for Kellen, right? This is like a map that all his heroes fits their hero pool as he gets a little bit far out here. Nice right click there. Following that up, that's a bio there from CJ.
Vega is guaranteeing a lot of healing from down there. Every time Kellen pops over, there's a whip shot that triggers that inspired healing. But still, this is not enough damage here to deal with someone like Kellen. Now they're on the... We've got a comp that can obviously sleep the Winston, but Kellen's being extra careful because he knows if he gets slept and bioed, he's done. He's got to respect the pulse bomb here, and surely you're tracking it at about now into the game. We're, of course, over a minute and a half in. And there's RuPaul going down. Kellen with a nice little primal rage here. And he's far from finished, my goodness. Vega is torn limb from limb. Oh, and Trees will not be allowed to get back in the spawn. That is a dirty primal. The Space Station start to flex their muscles.
Well, look, when Maga was not played in those first 2 maps, right? It looked a little bit like this, right? It just kind of turned completely. Knife started to play better, obviously Infected, and everybody started to come alive when they play some of that Maga. Here on Dorado, a lot like a map like Gibraltar, can't really do that because there's so much high ground access that you need here, or else you're going to fall apart.
Disrupt the shot's awkward there. It's going to force RuPaul out of position, and Tree segmented off from the rest of his team. Bliss, though, is the trade here as RuPaul ends up nanoing Vega. The knife was also low. He had to recall. CJ, though, is plucked out by Infected, and he comes back for a second bite at the apple, and feast he will. Another big primal, this time from the side of Team Liquid, and this is going to give them a window into the game.
Well, they're going to get the cart moving. Sugar Freeze on the cart just gives themselves a little bit of a few seconds there of stall. So you do have another fight, though. SSG with an opportunity to get basically a first point hold here. They could come out maybe behind this Seeker overclock Yeah, dude, he picks up a few kills here. I mean, it is GG potentially.
They have what they need, Matt. This disrupt the shot also creates that spacing behind the brig. Sugar Free though doesn't want to pulse that. There it is. Oh, buddy. Knife through it instantly. Seeker finds yet another one. Beautifully done. Now we can drop here onto the point.
And RuPaul's going to die here late. They're going to leave RuPaul. RuPaul's all the way in the back here.
They say snitches get stitches, and Seeker just caught the golden one, baby. That's beautiful. RuPaul down. Bio shrugged off by Kellen. And our Space Station. 13 seconds in the round. Looking to shut Liquid out. They've switched over to the Wrecking Ball. We're at Lucio Kiriko for Team Liquid. It's a last-ditch attempt to have a respectable chance in this map. Off to the races we go. It's going to be a whip shot back on Infected. He's a little low, but still will look to keep this overtime going. An overclock for Tree. Might be the savior they're looking for, but he doesn't have it just yet. Bio on Infected. Knife is low. Forced to recall. Here it is, overclock. You've got to get Kellen, but he had a primal. And another dirty one. Once more, Tree is juggled. Kellen now looking for Kiriko. RuPaul under pressure. CJ just casually finds 3 kills in this fight. A Bio to finish it off. And all buddy. Team Liquid are in the doldrums. Teetering on the edge.
Dude.
His SSG look to put him to the sword.
I mean, Kellen's primals have been filthy today, right? That one by the spawn connects with 3. That time Tree coming around, overclock. He is dealt with so fast with that primal rage. So, dude, I mean, for Team Liquid, obviously, you know, an opportunity here potentially to get like an even fuller hold, right? But they're gonna have to figure out a way to win on some of these games that are not, you know, Malga based, right? It's really been SSG that when Malga has not been the play and it's been some Winston or some other stuff, that is where even the ball comp, right? SSG looks pretty good against. Where this has been what is kind of been the bane of Team Liquid's existence here, right? Not being able to maybe play some of these Winston based comps.
This is obviously where Space Station's bread is buttered. They could try their Widow at first.
Yeah.
Feels like Tree maybe just stuck to it a little bit too long. Just a little.
I mean,
Brutal. I mean,
maybe,
in fact, it had
but
a great primal. Good juggle. I think found like 2 or 3 kills on his own, but by that point, things were already in disarray. And Space Station, Seeker just flattens him with that rail. It's just over.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's like, oh, you stay on the Widow too long. I think also you probably have a good idea, like, hey, we need like a pick to start to get things moving, right? And maybe it would have been difficult to find on the Sojourn, because you're going to see Seeker probably play it here. At least at the start, he's going to go back to the spawn. It looks like he's going to make that change, yeah. So you would have potentially maybe even seen some Ashe play, right? But the Ashe does get banned here, so...
Knife's already looking to make his way around. Also, we'll try and stall the card, touch on it as quickly as possible. RuPaul is hoping this skin gives him some good luck. Can see why he'd think so. Still Kellen a little bit low at the time. Still be able to play behind the car, block that LOS here, get topped up inside the bubble, and then play from this low room here. Infected now is going to be pulled in about 3 different directions as Kellen is going to hit the back line. Great whip shot, though. That shuts down that aggression. Kellen now irrelevant for the next couple of seconds. Until once more he has the chance to accost this backline, but Seeker has eventually been felled. Infected's able to achieve his objective quicker than Kellen can. And honestly, you got to credit Vega with a great heads-up whip shot that keeps Kellen off his target.
Infected was slept there, but he's able to kind of stay alive and get back to the rest of his team. As you see both Winstons, right, just using the sleep to try and get different positions. We see Kellen trying to get up over there on like that bridge area and try and make a play, and then constantly jumping up towards the high ground here. That time get hit with another whip shot. So Vega doing a nice job protecting that high ground.
Oh, I can see RuPaul was considering throwing a bio down there, but it would have exposed him a little bit too much. This is good, though. CJ can't withstand that. And it's a primal here that may not have been necessary for Infected, honestly. Probably had them dead to rights regardless. But there's a message to send here as well.
Okay, so Team Liquid starting to get things rolling, right? That's their nano and primal. But still, we're going to be below 2 minutes on the game clock. An opportunity here. Right, you win another fight, you're at like a minute 30, even if you lose that one, right? You still give yourself the same opportunity that we just saw SSG have.
Under 2 minutes. Pulse for Knife, Nano here for Kellen. He can cycle this into a primal. This could be it right now. Defensive bio used there quite effectively by RuPaul. But Kellen's going to wait for another rotation of cooldowns before he goes in. Knife here. Pulse was no good, but he can still be a threat on the card as Kellen eventually gets brought down. What? He couldn't primal! Was that not the plan?
I actually think he was probably like, waiting to use that primal, and then ended up just taking like a boatload of damage, with Vega there in the mix. And I mean, now you're going to be even below the time that I thought you would be at, right? You're at 1:20 here. You use what? You're going to use a leap there to go on to Vega. He's going to whip shot. You're going to use primal. He's going to rally, and then you're going to get stunned. I mean, this is starting to fall apart here for SSG.
Kellen has got to get something done. He's been pretty anemic on this attack side. He needs to get into the backline badly. Tree's hit with a bio, but he doesn't go for the Sojourn. Instead, stunned up by the rallying Brig. And that window where you could have picked up Tree has gone begging. Infected those been brought down, so SSG have no pressure on them really outside of what Tree's trying to manufacture, and he's going to be brought down as well. They're so close. Just a couple of centimeters and they'll be there. Space Station still need to get through the raid boss that is Vega. RuPaul went down after giving off the nano, but Knife is out of the game, and Vega eventually is going to fall. Space Station Gaming turn up the heat and Liquid vaporize. It's an SSG with a guaranteed slot at our Champions Clash.
And it was not easy there towards the end. Team Liquid actually with a really good defense. If Team Liquid actually just gave themselves a little, and not even like a major push on offense, right? Even if they just got the first checkpoint and get a little bit around the corner, I mean, they were set up great potentially to win the map, but their push goes absolutely nowhere on their offensive side. Team Liquid puts themselves in a really difficult position on defense, and even with a few good fight wins, it's still not enough.
The world is healing. We ended this epic 5-map battle with a Winston mirror. Liquid might not agree, I guess, about that comment, where that definitely doesn't seem like they're as comfortable there, but what choice do you have? It's Dorado. It's basically written in the very capstone of this map. You must play these dive comps. Yeah. And eventually, Space Station Gaming getting to circle back around to the map pool, you pick the worst map for Malga.
And not only do we obviously get SSG securing their spot in the Champions Clash, but now we'll get Team Liquid versus Nightmare for the third time in 3 weeks, right? Series at 1-1 here currently at the moment, right? But
it was 0-3-3-1. And
yes.
Then, yeah.
And then, but we just heard Zero say that, they felt they played really terrible in that one. Potentially that they kind of ended up throwing it. You look at those maps, they were really close. So that's a fantastic game to see the other team from NA going to China.
Absolutely. That was a lot of fun. Two teams with two preferred styles. I think they differ quite a lot. I'm curious to hear what our desk has to say as we wrap this one up. We're going to head over to them, but first, hear some sounds from the victorious moment.
Let's go.
Those are the winning moments for SSG. It started to look like they're running away with it very early on in this series, but somehow, some way, Team Liquid were clawing their way back into this one. So, Jake, let's break it down. Let's talk about first things first, of course, Maga. Maga seems to be their strength. It started to look up once they were able to actually play a Maga and a Maga mirror.
Yeah, I think both SSG, tried to play a lot of dive into the Maga today. Nightmare tried it as well. And I think this still shows that Maga has a place in the meta, right? Like on some of these maps, Team Liquid able to execute it super well and able to get a lot of mileage out of the Maga comp. So I think for that rematch tomorrow between Team Liquid and Nightmare, I think Maga is going to be featured pretty heavily with the way the results went today. And I think Nightmare need to be adapted to that. They need to be ready to either take the mirror or have something else cooked up to deal with it, because still very relevant, as much as I think dive was clearly more popular today in North America.
Yeah, as much as we all are not the biggest fans of those Maga mirrors, it does seem to be a strength for a lot of those teams. Another thing, of course, if you're looking at Team Liquid, that is always a strength to them, is the ball comp. That one was fun, and that certainly gave SSG some trouble. Like, they didn't seem to be able to get past that infected raid boss.
Yeah, I think Esperanca was played really well by Infected, got a lot of mileage, but the Winston comp, I think, was a little bit stronger on the dive today. I mean, both teams were trying to run them both in both regions, but I felt okay, this Winston is just hitting hard, hitting fast. Kellen played a fantastic series here. I think especially on Dorado, his defense was just oppressive. I mean, he's constantly over the top of them. He's not exactly getting like tons and tons of kills, but that's not his job there on defense. It's just delaying the rotation, stalling RuPaul and Vega, preventing them from getting into position to assist the dives on the high ground. And he played that incredibly well there. So I was really impressed by Kellen this series. The Winston is clearly a strong suit, and you can't blame SSG for wanting to continue to run it with how well Kellen's playing. But I think, you know, whether you want to be a Winston team, whether you want to be a Malga team, you know, it doesn't really matter right now. I think the top teams are to compete in the international stage, you're going to need to have both in the bag.
Absolutely. I'm excited to see where the teams are taking us tomorrow, especially that lower bracket match between Nightmare and Team Liquid. But of course, SSG, they remain on top. They came into the playoffs as our first seed. They were on top, although it was a very, very competitive region, literally until the very last day of play in stage 1. Things were still shifting around. We were already starting to look at like tiebreakers there. So Spacestation just inched ahead by a little bit, and now they're making that upper bracket run. So overall, of course, phenomenal performance from Spacestation Gaming, and a lot of that has to do with those individuals popping up in Sugarbrand. I love that. Sugarbrand, I mean, he was Don King on the ball, right? Sugarbrand did have a phenomenal match today. Yeah.
You gotta give it up for Lenny. I mean, he came out in map 1 just swinging for the fences. He put on some sick, nasty team fights, just crushed Team Liquid. Honestly, first 2 maps, I was like, okay, this is just over, man. Like SSG are on a different level. And Sugar Free, he was the tip of that spear so many times in this series, charging into the backline. And this is RuPaul and Vega. I mean, this is like some of the best supports out of NA, and Sugar Free is just completely dancing on them with the help of Kellen diving into that backline. And phenomenal performance from him. Whether the Tracer is, I think, the most exciting to watch, but when he brings out the Genji, the Echo, you know, everything he's got on that level too. So such a flexible player. I don't think it's a stretch to say Sugar Free is the best player in North America right now. I think he's been there for a little while, but now it's pretty clear with the performance he put on today.
Absolutely. And we do have an interview now as well with, I believe, CJ, question mark, exclamation point. We did it. Hey, CJ, nice to have you on for a quick chat. First of all, congratulations. You guys punched your tickets to China. How important was this for your team to make our first LAN event?
I mean, it was kind of important. Like, that's kind of the whole reason our team came together in the first place. It was a team that's designed to win, I guess, in a way. And finally being Liquid after losing to them in the first week, it was definitely fulfilling.
Yeah, let's talk about that victory we just saw, because at the beginning it quite frankly looked like you're going to run away with it, but then something shifted. Team Liquid started to get back into this. They're allowed to play that Maga. They had success with their ball. If you had to put your finger on it, why do you think they suddenly managed to take maps off of you?
I don't know. I think the only reason why they took maps is honestly, I think I was playing like not the best as not as I normally do. I don't think they really did anything different. I just think I wasn't playing up to like what I normally do. So I think that's the only reason why they won maps. I don't think they did anything special or different.
All right. CJ is locked in, ready to win this whole thing, take the championship for NA. I feel like you came out super strong on map 1, had a lot of really big impact sleeps, game-winning catches on the opposing backline. Did you guys come into this match thinking it would be like a really dominant victory for you guys, or how much in terms of like the scrim results and everything did you think Team Liquid would be able to push you to the limit?
Okay, that's actually funny. Scrim results, I think for like the past 2 weeks, I don't think we won like any scrims at all until like the last couple of days where we like started to win scrims. So I think like personally, I think we're like kind of nervous, but then once we started winning scrims again, I think our confidence levels rose a lot. And yeah, I mean, Liquid's just another NA team. It's not like they're a Korean team, so there's not much to worry about.
Right, not much to worry about. Well, you're going to be facing off against either Team Liquid or Nightmare in the finals for this one. That's going to be all for seeding and money, of course. Is there a team out of the two that you would prefer to go up against, or where you feel you're matching up against them more favorably?
I think Nightmare definitely has the ability to like punch up higher than Liquid, but I actually don't care who we play tomorrow. I have friends on both teams, and I think it's going to be fun either way.
Right, well, we're in for a good time, I'm pretty sure. CJ, thank you so much for taking the time. Congratulations once more, and best of luck in your match tomorrow.
All right, thank you so much.